BC Premier Christy Clark says she has accepted all of the recommendations from a report into a scandal that erupted following revelations about a plan by members of her provincial Liberal Party to win ethnic votes. This report by Clark's deputy says the party misused government resources when it hatched the plan, including having a bureaucrat spend half his time working on the party's program. Joining us now from Victoria, British Columbia, political consultant Michael Geoghegan. Michael, results of the investigation into the ethnic outreach program were released Thursday. I sketched a bit there a moment ago. Help us further understand what the report says members of Christy Clark's party were doing wrong.
Well, you had a number of things going on. You had approximately $70,000 of taxpayers' money being used for partisan purposes, and the Liberals have said that they will repay that money. And you also had the hiring of staff that spent at least half their time working on partisan activities, particularly ethnic outreach. But the thing
this was a plan, Michael, to win more votes from the ethnic population of British Columbia.
Yeah, the Indo-Canadian community, the Chinese-Canadian community, and the like. It included a number of different strategies, including issuing of official apologies for past government misdeeds, such as the Komogata Maru incident of about 100 years ago, where a boatload of people from India were turned away because of their ethnicity, the Chinese head tax, and whatnot. But I think what people found most offensive, it was just the crassness of the memo, and it was, well, we'll just play up to these groups in an attempt to win votes, but it was seen as a last-minute desperate thing rather than, say, a consistent policy of trying to ensure that all British Columbians are engaged in the political process and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Michael, what's the report recommending now that Christy Clark has agreed to comply with?
Well, what's happened is there was an investigation by John Dybel, who's a longtime career civil servant, and he issued a report. Now, there has been some criticism that it was not an independent investigation. There's a number of recommendations that have been made. There has been resignations. One of the Premier's key staff people, Kim Hackstead, has resigned. Minister Yap has stepped down as a result of that. And so I think what the report has called for is greater scrutiny in terms of the issuing of contracts. For example, there was one contract for $6,800 that was signed off on without there being proper approval. And this issue of contracts being issued without proper approval, I mean, this is something that goes beyond the political realm in British Columbia. Right now, Ministry of Health is grappling with that same issue where there was contracts worth far more than that that were signed by people who weren't authorized. In fact, you have a situation where one contractor authorized their own contract, and that's something that's also been troubling over here in British Columbia.
Michael, quickly, I have to ask before we wrap up. Premier Clark says she has owned up to this mistake. She wants to move on. Do you believe voters will allow her to do that?
Well, I think if the government was popular, yes, this would have been a problem, but it wouldn't have been a fatal one. The problem is that you had a Liberal Party that was 15 points behind the opposition NDP. The latest Ipsos Reid poll now has the Liberals 19 points behind. And when a government is imploding, and we saw this before, back in 2000 with the NDP, we saw it before that with the Social Credit Party. When governments start imploding, things start leaking, and things that would otherwise be manageable problems become major disasters.
When are we going to see the results of this?
To see the results of which, sorry?
Of this whole debacle. Where does the rubber meet the road in this case?
Oh, well, essentially, it'll meet the road. The rubber will meet the road come the May election. Like I say, right now, the NDP's at 51, the Liberals are at 32%. I think essentially what's going to happen is we're going to see a new government, and then that will be the end of the Christy Clark government, and then the Liberals will then have to have at least one term in opposition to rebuild themselves, regroup, and come back.
Political consultant Michael Geoghegan in Victoria. Thanks a lot for speaking with us, Michael.
Thank you.